Okay, we'll move on to a presentation on the Toward Zero Death Law Enforcement Program. Jessica, and I'm going to ruin your last name.
Sade. There you go.
From Goodhue County, TCD Coordinator, along with Chief Pullman, will provide the council an update to the current TZD initiative.
Good evening, Council President Bizey, Mayor Dowles, and City Council members. My name is Jessica Sade, like that was mentioned. I work for Goodhue County Health and Human Services as a Community Health Specialist, and I also am the Goodhue County Toward Zero Death, also known as TZD, Safe Roads Grant Coordinator.
And I think everybody knows me. I'm your Chief of Police, Roger Pullman. I am filling in tonight for Adam Crane, who had a death in his family and is away attending to those matters. But he is our TZD coordinator, does an outstanding job working with Jessica and her team. And we're here to basically talk to you about what TZD is about at the state level, and then how that breaks down into the regional and the local areas.
Sorry, I'm gonna try to, there we go. Okay, so our vision is simple: 0 deaths and serious injuries on our roadways. And the TCD mission explains how we plan to do just that, to move Minnesota towards 0 deaths on our roads using education, enforcement, engineering, and emergency medical and trauma services. This slide shows that the factors that contribute to highway crashes are interconnected. Human behavior, the driver, infrastructure, and then the vehicle. Driver error contributes in some form to approximately 93% of highway crashes. The roadway environment, including both roadway design and weather-related factors such as darkness, rain, snow, ice, contribute to 34% of crashes. The vehicle itself, a blown tire, mechanical failure, safety devices or lack thereof within the vehicle contribute to 13% of crashes. These focus areas are what our regional crash data shows are the highest contributing factors for traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries. So speed, seatbelt use, distracted driving, and impaired driving. We've been focusing on these factors for the last few years, but we still aren't at 0, so our work continues. Changing someone's behaviors to eliminate crashes is not an easy task. Each year, illegal or unsafe speed is a leading contributing factor in Minnesota crashes, accounting for at least 130 deaths annually, of which 70% occur on rural 2-lane roads in Minnesota. Young adult motorists are the most common offenders and those at greatest risk. Did you know in 2015, 86% of unbelted traffic deaths occurred in greater Minnesota? Rural 2-lane roads are dangerous. A record percentage of Minnesotans are buckling up, 94%. Yet each year, more than half of the motorists killed in crashes aren't belted, translating to more than 150 deaths and more than 400 serious injuries annually. Distracted driving or inattentive driving is when a driver engages in any activity that might distract them from the primary focus of driving, and which increases their risk of crashing. We have seen a reduction of alcohol-related deaths in Minnesota, but impaired driving is still a serious threat on Minnesota roads. Impaired driving accounts for more than 100 deaths each year, and nearly 30,000 motorists are arrested for DWI. 1 in 7 Minnesota drivers has a DWI on record. The Toward Zero Death program focuses on the application of 4 strategic areas to reduce crashes. The 4 E's: education, enforcement, engineering, emergency medical services. We have recently added the 5th E, everyone, as everyone shares the roads. Working together, these efforts will make a difference on Minnesota roadways.
And I'd just like to comment on our team here in Goodhue County and Red Wing. It truly is a county mutual aid trying to make our community safer and our area safer. We have our members from the Zumbrota, Kenyon, Cannon Falls Police Department that assist us, along with the Goodhue County Sheriff's Office. And in fact, I had one citizen call up one day and said, what's wrong with your officers? Don't you know where your jurisdiction ends? I saw them over by Zumbrota on 52 pulling people over. Well, that's part of our TCD wave. They were there helping out that day on overtime. Last year, in 2017, we received $5,790 from the state of Minnesota just for the City of Red Wing officers to conduct the Towards Zero Death traffic enforcement. Also, you may have seen this summer on Pioneer Road, we had members from Cannon Falls and Zumbrota pulling people over here in Red Wing. Again, that is part of our Towards Zero Death enforcement efforts. We do have a signed agreement with all the entities and the cities in Goodhue County that have police departments. And I'm just really impressed at how well the guys work together to help make our streets safer. Also, to let you know, in 2017, just Red Wing officers working in the county did 79 hours of TZD, which resulted in 168 stops, 57 citations, 8 people taken into custody, and counted for 975 miles on our squads. The reason I add the mileage is because there is a little bit of a local match to the TZD dollars we get from the state, and that match is basically accounted for in our mileage. So the state accepts that when we calculate our contributions. So, and there's some nice pictures of our teams. I know if you've been up to the high school one summer, we painted the buckle up on the entrance and exits to the high school. So just a great effort going on in our area.
And our TZD efforts have been working. This image shows how the number of deaths on our roadways have been dramatically reduced since the TZD program began in Minnesota in 2003. In 2003, we were seeing an uptick in traffic-related fatalities. 655 people died on our roadways in 2003 alone. Preliminary deaths for 2017 is 358, which is a 55% reduction. However, we're now seeing a plateau. We need to keep doing the good work that is being done, but also look to innovative ways to keep the line moving towards zero deaths on our roadways. I don't have to remind you that every one of these deaths was someone's mom, dad, brother, sister, or friend. So there's still work to be done. It took a lot of effort and collaboration to get here. These are just a few of the legislative initiatives that helped push the trend line down. One example is in the spring of 2009, the Minnesota legislator changed the state seatbelt law, making not wearing a seatbelt a primary offense, where officers can ticket drivers for not wearing a seatbelt even if no other traffic law is broken. The research team analyzed data prior to passage of the primary seatbelt law and the actual crash data in the years after the law went into effect. The results estimate that by 2013, there had been at least 132 fewer deaths, 434 fewer severe injuries, and 1,270 fewer moderate injuries since the primary seatbelt law went into effect. This improved safety record translates into at least $67 million in avoided hospital charges, which includes direct charges of nearly $16 million or more Minnesota tax dollars that would have been billed to Medicare, Medicaid, and other government insurers. These legislative actions are the result of a culture shift in Minnesota as it pertains to traffic safety, because most legislators will not support a bill unless the majority of people are in favor of the bill. This table shows number of deaths in the Southeast region by year. So the state of Minnesota saw an uptick in traffic-related fatalities, where Southeast actually dropped from 49 deaths in 2014 to 48 in 2015. And preliminary data shows 46 deaths in 2016. So Southeast is headed in the right direction. Almost finished. As of February 26, 2018, today, there were 36 traffic-related deaths on Minnesota roads compared to 44 deaths at this time last year. So today I ask you, what will it take to get us off of this plateau and get Minnesota's trend line moving downward again? We are here today not just to celebrate our successes, but discuss what comes next. Traffic safety culture is the shared values, beliefs, norms, and attitudes that influence behavioral choices related to traffic safety. So just to put this into perspective, if you believe most people do not speed, you're less likely to speed. Behavior modification also requires the change in culture of roadway users. It has to be socially unacceptable for drivers to speed, to drive distracted. So as we continue to educate traffic safety stakeholders, we expand our efforts to the 5th E, which is everyone, as everyone shares the road and we need to take care of each other while we're on that same system. A reduction in fatalities and serious injuries will only occur if we use new and innovative ways to educate motorists in traffic safety risk. And so the goal of Towards Zero Death is to help reduce the number of deaths and serious injuries on our roadways. Each one of us in this room already has the goal of 0 fatalities for our families and loved ones. If everyone adopted that philosophy, they understand why 0 is the only goal that we should shoot for. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions?
I would like to just quick add one thing. In Red Wing also, my investigators got involved one year, and they've made it an annual event when we're doing the distracted driving enforcement downtown. Since they're usually in plain clothes, they'll go stand by a traffic signal and push the cross button, and then the patrol cars are further a couple blocks down. And then they're watching as people stop to see if they're texting at their phone or distracted driving, which is not allowed, and they'll call it ahead. So being quite creative, and it's getting everybody in the department involved. So we appreciate that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.